The Yanqing National Alpine Skiing Centre on the Hai Tuo Mountain is the venue for the Beijing 2022 Paralympic Alpine programme, and a cloudy day up on the mountain, but enough visibility for today's races to go ahead as the women race their giant slalom on day 7 of these Beijing 2022 Paralympic Winter Games. Here is the schedule for the day, and the vision impaired category will get us underway, followed by the standing and then the sitting. Giant slalom, the combination of 2 runs, the run 1 in the morning, run 2 in the afternoon. And it is the combined times of those 2 runs that will make up the podium at the end of the day. This will be the 4th medal that the women are battling for, and their penultimate day of action at these Paralympic Winter Games. And they'll be looking to try and ski as hard as they can on some difficult conditions. The air temperature, well, is above freezing, so that is not good news for the snow. It will start to deteriorate as we go through the day, hence why the start time has been brought forward to 8:30 local time. The women's giant slalom, vision impaired, at the Para-Alpine skiing at Beijing 2022. We'll get day 7 underway, the first of the 2 runs. And let's have a look now at the start list. And there are 15 athletes at the top of the hill from 10 national Paralympic committees. The defending Paralympic champion, Henrietta Farkasova, goes at bib number 2. The reigning world champion, Barbara Eigner, goes at bib number 3. 2018 silver medalist Menna Fitzpatrick goes at 9, while the bronze medalist from Pyeongchang, Melissa Perrin, goes at 8. Zhu Da King at bib number 11 is China's big medal hope in this one. Changing conditions today.
Yeah, and as we've seen, the course workers and volunteers here have done a great job of keeping the course in good order, and hopefully it's going to be just cold enough today for the snowpack to stay fairly well consolidated to ensure fair and even racing from start to finish of today's proceedings. A lot of ladies to get down this course, so we'll watch the conditions very carefully as things progress throughout the morning in this first run for the women's giant slalom.
Brett Wild there just talking to his athlete Millie Knight, telling her to get strong. And a little bit of wind blowing, as you can see from the gates in the picture, but no beating sunshine that we've had on previous day. No picture postcard day of the Hai Tuo Mountain on day 7.
Still spring-like though, but rather damp and a little bit misty in contrast to fantastic conditions that we've had through the opening days of the Paralympic Winter Games 2022.
The 30-second beep will bring the wand across the gates, and Millie Knight will prepare herself. Slovakia have had a great vision-impaired games in the Para-Alpine. Can they continue that here? Millie Knight of Great Britain and Brett Wild, her guide, will get the women's giant slalom vision impaired race underway, and an opportunity to see the pattern of gates set by William Marshall of Canada, alternating blue and red gates, and Knight is into the murk.
Yeah, our long shots showing it is rather foggy up the top, but a steady start from the British pair. Brett Wild guiding well here, finding the rhythm of the course. Marshall, one of the Canadian technical coaches, has set a very steady rhythm on this top part.
The opening 6 turns or so are pretty steep, but then it sort of flattens out, sort of roller coasters its way down to the sort of 90-degree right-hand turn, which they'll come to after the second time check, and then it gets very steep.
Far more open right on our screens right now. A lot more distance between the gates than up at the top. There's that second time check. And coming around this long sweeping left foot turn. It's one of the classic key signature elements of this piste. That breakaway onto the final steep pitch into the finish area.
And Knight is down in 103.35, encouraged all the way by Brett Wild, her guide. Well, we'll have to wait and see how that stacks up against those remaining at the top of the hill. Henrietta Farkasova of Slovakia, the defending Paralympic champion, is underway. 11 times a Paralympic champion, but she won't be defending her title here in Beijing because she is out, and that is a big shock. Henrietta Farkasova of Slovakia is a DNF in the women's giant slalom vision impaired.
Well, the first big upset of the day.
Barbara Eigner of Austria and her guide Clara Sikora, the 16-year-old, is the reigning world champion.
Strong work from the youngster here. Her first competitive outing here in Beijing. Really good work. Powering the ski, going from left foot to right foot, keeping that rhythm going. Clara Sikora doing an amazing job of guiding through this midsection.
1.94, the right side of the clock, and Eigner's twin brother Johannes racing in the men's category. He won the men's giant slalom vision impaired, so can they do that brother-sister double act?
Well, yeah, family heritage and this important element of everything Austrian, but particularly in skiing, it seems. Our guide here, Clara Sikora, her father, a bronze medalist back in Nagano in 1998 at the Olympic Games. Right now, though, onto the pitch, this pair have this race totally under their control.
3.63, the right side of the clock at the second split. That is an excellent time from Barbara Eigner of Austria. 5.31 inside the pace of Millie Knight. Niema Eva-Risto and her guy Paula Elia Brenzel of Germany. Risto fourth in the giant slalom 4 years ago in 2018.
A little bit far from the gates to have a truly competitive time, but it's a solid run from the German pair. Their connection stronger than we've seen in the recent days, and they just need to keep this going. Keep themselves in touch, because don't forget, it's a two-run race.
1.77 at the first bit, 3.62 now for Risto.
Around the long sweeping double. Again, the German pair taking a bit more space than perhaps they needed to, giving the course a little more respect, not attacking as hard as the gates possibly do invite.
58.04 comes and goes, and Risto is down. And the time is 103.94. Bib number 5 is Elina Stari of Austria, the 15-year-old, with her guide Celine Arthofer, and a different start technique to those that have gone before. Everybody in this race, apart from Farkasova, is a B2, so an interesting start. And a good opening couple of turns, only 2/10 off the pace.
Yeah, and just referring back to the start technique, the guide can start left or right or directly in front of their athlete. There's a high degree of flexibility to allow for the differing levels of visual impairment.
And it works well for Stari, who goes second, 0.78 off the pace. Good first run from the 15-year-old.
They're delighted with that. Austria 1 and 2. Very strong performances from the Austrians this morning.
Chiara Matzel of Italy, the next to go. Fabrizio Casal, her guide, 25 years of age, first Paralympic Winter Games. Oh, and she goes down on her right side. as she comes off the steep section, and that's a disappointing end for Madsell.
That's a shame. She'd really got the most difficult gates. She'd managed to deal with those pretty well. Again, a skier with less experience than some of the girls we've seen before, but she had dealt with those tricky top turns and was just letting herself get going, trying to take some speed out onto the flats when it all went wrong.
Alexandra Rexova of Slovakia next on track, and Rexova 16 years of age and has been skiing really well. Look at the wind though on those gates. It is really very blowy up there at the moment, and 300s on the right side of the clock, and well, Rexova passes Madsell on the snow.
Yeah, the Slovakians, as we've said, very, very strong and right across all the disciplines. And here in the king or the queen of technical disciplines, giant slalom, Rexova, showing us that she has the skills in these middle size and middle pace turns, sticking very closely to her guide. This is great work by the Slovakian pairing. Here comes the final pitch. They have to dig in here, trying not to let the gap grow any longer. Right on the gates, great closing turns.
58.04, and she's 1.72 off the pace. Rexova slides into third position. Good ski from the youngster.
Quick look back at some very clean turns here. Quick check by the guide. Great pictures there, capturing the essence of visually impaired guiding and ski racing.
That's our current leader, Barbara Eigner of Austria. Leads the way currently by just over 3/4 of a second, and well, that's not what we want to see. Chiara Madsell clearly hurt herself on that fall. She went down on a rather flat section of the piece, and that can often cause a lot more hurt than going down on a steeper section.
Yeah, she landed really hard, you know, as we're saying, the terrain just flattening off here. Anxious moments for the Italian team. All smiles from the Austrians, however, in the finish area. Nico Pjanic supporting his the ladies section of the Austrian team, while we watch the course workers and medical crew, accompanied by Davide Gross there with Italia across his back, the head coach of the Italian Paralympic Alpine program, making sure the best attention is given to his athlete as we get her safely evacuated off the hill for a proper medical assessment.
Well, it's very disappointing to see for Chiara Madsell. But we have a 16-year-old from a 15-year-old at the top of the standings in this giant slalom vision impaired first race.
Quick look back here at just what went wrong. The Italian pair just getting bounced a little and squashed down into the back seat. Now, often pick up a little knee tweak or something more serious from a fall like that. It looked fairly innocuous, but it was not so much the fall, I fear, that may have done some damage, but just the moments before she actually went down. Fingers crossed that she'll be okay and back to race in the final competition after today.
Our Slovakian team will be disappointed that their defending champion, Farkasova, went out of this first run in the women's giant slalom vision impaired. But they still have an opportunity for a medal in the shape of the youngster, Alexandra Rexova.
So everybody just staying ready, staying on deck. As everybody looks anxiously on, the Austrians cast their eyes towards the top of the hill.
Still have one more to come in Veronika Eigner, the elder sister of our current leader, Barbara Agner, by a couple of years. But they're still working on Chiara Matzel, and they'll take as much time as they need to make her as comfortable as possible before taking her off the hill. And concerning times for not only the Italian team, but also the athletes at the bottom of the hill. Yes, they're out there to beat each other on the snow, but they all want each other to finish the races.
Yeah, and stay healthy. It's an amazing atmosphere, I have to say, working on the Alpine circuit. The athletes and coaches, everybody collaborates much more closely than on many other competition circuits, be it on or off the snow. And I think that's what we're sensing here. Watching an athlete being evacuated off the hill, you know, it puts a bit of a dampener on everybody's excitement and potential celebrations. But it looks, as we go back to the pictures at the bottom of the start pitch, it looks like they're about to load her onto the sledge, and they'll have, it looks like they've possibly put a splint on her leg there and immobilized that, get her safely on that sledge and down for a proper medical assessment in the medical center at the foot of the mountain.
Look at the wind on those gates.
Yeah, it's funny, there wasn't so much wind forecast, but now beginning to swirl and gust around. It may clear the mist, that might be a good part of it, but let's hope the gusts don't get too strong, because in the relatively high speeds of giant slalom, you know, we're up around, perhaps on some of the faster sections of the course, you know, we can see speeds approaching 70, 75 kilometers per hour. It's important that the athletes don't find their balance affected or their pace affected by the wind, either whether it's coming across the hill or, you know, it's really a disadvantage to be skiing into a headwind, obviously. But steady conditions, steady weather conditions, steady, stable snow conditions is what we really need to close out these final days of the Paralympic Games.
Well, you can see that Mezzo is sort of propping herself up on her elbows. You can see her a black helmet.
Yeah, she looks fairly comfortable, so fingers crossed. Let's hope that these are really just precautionary moves and absolutely the correct way to proceed in these circumstances. Just no extra risks to be taken by the athlete needing to ski down and perhaps aggravate a small knee tweak or a small injury. Good work once again, I have to say, by our local course crew.
Yeah, propping herself up, it seemed, with both arms. So let's hope that it is nothing more than precautionary, and that Matzel will be back.
Eight skiers at the top. The first to come, Melissa Perrin of Australia, a very experienced skier, Mel Perrin, and her guide. They'll just be soaking this up. Bobby Kelly guide for Melissa Perrin. They're both very experienced. They haven't been on the circuit the last year or so, but coming back for another Paralympic Winter Games. So these the small interruption in proceedings, I don't think it'll affect their focus and concentration. There's Kelly, the guy there with the orange bib. Mel Perrin with her head down, just staying in the zone, probably just running the pattern of gates in her head one more time just to refamiliarize herself, keep her concentration and ensure that she knows exactly where she is going to be guided, pointing those skis as she chases her guide from the start all the way down to the finish area.
And everyone trying to stay warm at the top. And Chiara Matzel is taken from the hill.
Yeah, Fabrizio Casal, Chiara Matzel's guide, following on there and just making sure that everything goes according to plan. Obviously, your guiding job doesn't end if your athlete's out of the competition. Your guiding job starts first thing in the morning when the alarm clock goes off and it's time to go warm up and then go for breakfast, and doesn't stop till the lights go out at night. So full marks for the guide there. It really is a immensely demanding job and a huge responsibility, and one of the most amazing athletic partnerships that I've ever had the experience to be involved with, working either as a coach or as a guide with the visually impaired athletes in the world of para-alpine skiing.
Melissa Perrine of Australia will be the next to go, bib number 8.
Yeah, as expected. She's all smiles there. Cool, calm and collected. Bobby Kelly, just 1 or 2 words of encouragement, setting the final game plan for the Australian pair. Menna Fitzpatrick also smiling. That's a familiar sight. Looking very relaxed there as well at number 9. A wealth of experience up in the start area still to come in this women's giant slalom visually impaired division.
Still just waiting for the beep that will bring the wand across the gate. Japan team in the finish area. They've got athletes in the standing and sitting categories. No one in the vision impaired. And there is the 30-second buzzer. And the one comes across the gate. Bib number 8 is Melissa Perrine of Australia and her guide Bobby Kelly. And Perrine in her 4th Paralympic Winter Games, the 34-year-old who raced speed as well at the last 3 editions, but the technical disciplines here is on her way.
Mel Perrine diving into these turns very aggressively. Bobby Kelly sweeping a wider line, Mel going a bit straighter. That's a bit of a risky combination, I have to say, but the Australian pairing making good headway so far.
And just a second off the pace, Perrine, a bronze medalist in this discipline of giant slalom in Pyeongchang in 2018.
Slightly heavy edge set, right foot and then left by Mel Perrine. I was about to say she needs to settle things down and bring the turn a little rounder, a bit more shape to the turn across the flat. She's got good pace again though.
The difference now, 2.03.
She's an intensely competitive individual. She can't afford to let much more time slip by, or she won't be happy with this run. These are solid turns though down the final pitch. This should be good from Perrine.
58.04, and she is 4.09 off the pace. She goes into 4th place with a bit of work to do on run 2. Menna Fitzpatrick of Great Britain, bib number 9, and her guide Gary Smith. Fitzpatrick was 2nd in giant slalom in 2018. What can she do in 2022?
Fitzpatrick a little static on these middle turns. The top turns were more dynamic. Gary Smith setting a good pace and a real nice rhythm, giving a great target for Menna to follow.
Fitzpatrick was the first skier from Great Britain to win gold at the Paralympic Winter Games and at a World Championships. But she needs to try and find some time on these closing turns. 58.04 has come and gone. Fitzpatrick tucks for the line and stops the clock. 4.74 off the pace into 5th place. Bib number 10, Martina Vozza of Italy, 17 years of age, a medalist in the slalom discipline at the World Championships in Lillehammer in January of this year.
thought so. Just a little tentative coming onto the flat. I would suggest her guide having to slow down a little. Perhaps concerned about that section of the course, knowing that her teammate crashed there just a moment or two ago. But they keep it going through here.
Well, long hold on that left edge as she comes around that double gate.
Tucks now for the line. This is a bit more attacking on the closing gates.
But 5.16 off the pace goes into 6th place. Zhu Da-King from the People's Republic of China and her guide Yan Han Han. And Zhu, well, a bronze medalist in the Paralympic Summer Games in London of 2012. T12 200 meters bronze for her there. And looking good on her opening turns, 1.61 inside the pace of our leader Aigner.
Very clean turns, a little late in the line as she comes over the final pitch. She just needs to hang on here and she should take the lead comfortably.
Oh, she goes down over the finish line. Now, let's hope that she hasn't hurt herself, but that is not a good reaction. She looks like she has hurt herself, which is really disappointing. Now, anxious looks from Aigner and her guide Clara Sikora, and the medical team are out quickly. She'd skied really well, hadn't she?
Lots to be concerned about. Aigner's sister Veronica is actually on course as we pick her up from the start.
Veronica Aigner of Austria with bib number 12, and her guide, her elder sister Elisabeth Aigner. And they are 1.63 the right side of the clock. Good skiing from Aigner.
Exactly what we'd expect from Veronica Aigner. A very strong closing few turns here as well.
And 3.01 the right side of the clock. Great skiing from Veronica Aigner of Austria. She has really raised the bar.
Skiing exactly as we expected. Strong but calm from top to bottom. Very precise skiing by Aigner puts her in command of this first run in the women's visually impaired giant slalom.
So our current standings, it's Veronica Aigner of Austria from Zhu Da-King from the People's Republic of China, and then Barbara Aigner, the younger sister of Veronica, in 3rd. So our start referee, Sawano Hiroshi of Japan, giving the 1 minute call. And the Aigner sisters and their guides in the bottom just having a chat. And a concerning look at Zhu Da-King from the People's Republic of China. Bib number 13 is Sarah Choi from Korea and her guide Kim Yoo-seong. And what a story this is. 4 years ago, Sarah Choi was one of the Paralympic flag bearers at the opening ceremony of the Pyeongchang Paralympic Winter Games. And now she finds herself an athlete and just having a little bit of difficulty on those very steep opening turns, and her guide just getting a little bit far in front of her.
Yeah, she didn't look comfortable, did she, on those steeper turns? But you've spotted it right. Good connection now between the pair. They can't afford to get any further apart. And really, yeah, I think that's what you're seeing now. The distance growing and the athlete moving back ever so slightly from the middle point of balance back towards the tails of the skis, and not getting proper purchase under that outside ski as a result. They've closed it up again, and yeah, better skiing here and less time being bled away as we watch Choi approach the second split time.
9 seconds off the pace as she comes to this double left ski turn and the steep finishing section.
Saving the best turns to last here, I would say. Very strong closing turns from Choi.
Tucks for the line and crosses the line. 106.71, 11th position. And Choi goes down in the finish area, but is okay. Donnell Umstead of the United States of America and her husband Rob out of the start hut with bib number 14. And, well, her husband has been her guide since 2008.
Yeah, very experienced pairing here. Very good connection between Rob and Donnell through the early part of the flat section. They can afford to let the skis run now a little. They've negotiated the difficult turns up the top solidly, and now really just that's yeah, Donnell right on the money in terms of the line through these turns, quite very close to these gates, clipping one or two of them. Oh, gets pushed a little wide, and speed bled away there on the long left footer into the final turns here though.
Umstead, a couple of gates from home, tucks for the line, and she is across in 1:15.62. Now Umstead into 12th place. Linda Le Bon of Belgium with bib number 15, and her guide Ulla Gillot, the 57-year-old from Belgium, who was a World Championship silver medalist in January of this year in the speed events. Finds herself 10 seconds off the pace of Veronika Eigner at the second split.
Heading on to the final pitch, she went very wide on the double. She's got the good line back. Her guide's clipping the gates. That's not ideal.
And across into 12th position for Le Bon. 14.48 off the pace. So the women's giant slalom vision impaired run 1 has come to its conclusion with Linda Le Bon. And the standings of the women's giant slalom vision impaired after run 1 looked like this. Veronika Eigner of Austria and her sister Elizabeth are our leaders, from Xu Da King from the People's Republic of China. Then younger sister Barbara Eigner in 3rd and Elena Stary in 4th. The big story is that the defending champion Henrietta Farkasova was a non-finisher in the first run. The women's giant slalom standing race, and there are 22 competitors from 15 national Paralympic committees at the top of the hill, and the defending champion and reigning world champion Marie Boucher goes at bib number 21. The silver medalist from 2018 and the bronze medalist from the World Championships, Molly Jeppson, has bib number 17, and it is Ebba Arsho of Sweden who gets this women's giant slalom standing race underway. Bib number 16.
Very quick top turns from our Swedish skier here. Cutting right in on the gates, just brushing them. Athletes don't want to really clatter them because of the pace they're carrying. It really disturbs the balance if you hit the giant slalom panels too hard. And a very competitive run, I would say, here. And really digging deep on these closing turns.
To drive herself forward to keep balance, and 56.14 is the time from Ebba Arsho. Yeah, she got some big hits, didn't she, on her arms. Molly Jeppson of Canada with bib number 17 is out of the start height. Won 4 medals in 2018, a bronze in giant slalom, and at the first split, she's just over a second off the pace of our leader, Arsho, Sweden.
Very clean turns by Jeppson through the middle section, very quick on and off the edges. If she keeps that up, she should be able to stay in touch with her Swedish leader.
1.65 now, the deficit for Jeppson. Can she find time on this steep pitch coming into the finish?
Yeah, it's the last chance where it's a little steeper. She's got to try to get in the tuck early. There she goes.
Good work. And she consolidates the time loss. 1 3/4 seconds off the pace for Jeppson at the midpoint of the giant slalom run. Anna-Maria Reider of Germany, third in the World Championships in super combined and slalom, but giant slalom, well, we'll see how she goes. A different sort of beast. And at the first split, she finds herself a couple of seconds off the pace.
Yes, the turns of giant slalom are not as fast, obviously, as Super G or downhill, but nonetheless very demanding, both in terms of the physicality involved in trying to roll the pressure on strongly and quickly up high in the turn, and then hold it all the way around the curve, and then that all-important switch from one foot to another. There's good skills demonstrated here by Reider. She comes on to the final pitch. Oh, gets bounced wide in the double, though. That'll be costly.
That's going to be a key turn. Seems to be juddery already. 56.14. She's outside that by just over 4 3/4 seconds. Andrea Rothfuss of Germany, the next to challenge the bronze medalist from Pyeongchang in 2018. She's been on the podium at every Paralympic Winter Games since 2006, but hasn't been on the podium in Beijing.
Andy Rothfuss knows she has to use every bit of strength, every bit of power that she has in those legs of hers. She doesn't get any help from the factor. Gets pushed wide on the red gate that follows the double, however.
Tucks for the line and is in touch. 3.14 off the pace. Work to do for Rothfuss. Michaela Goslin of Canada, the next to go. And Goslin, 21 years of age, is on track and has a little bit of time to find after the first section.
Yeah, nobody getting that top section totally clean so far as I can tell. Goslin now through the middle part of the course, just has to watch on her less strong side. She doesn't get twisted round in the transition as she unloads one ski and tries to load the next one up. It's important, the forces that the ski has generated in the previous turn, twisting the skier out of balance.
Through the double gate on that left ski into this final pitch, and Goslin will stop the clock. Just over a minute, 5.17 off the pace for the Canadian. Marie Boucher of France, the next to go, an 8-time Paralympic champion. 4 gold medals in 2018 in downhill Super G, giant slalom and slalom, but no gold medals as yet in Beijing.
Comes into view with time to find. Marie Boucher, another skier without any help from the factor. So that leg strength she has must be used to maximal effect.
Looking for a hat-trick of giant slalom crowns, but she's got some work to do if she is to achieve that. 56.14 is Arsho's time. Boucher, 3.66 off the pace. Slides into 4th for the time being. Alana Ramsey of Canada, the next to go, bib number 22. Ramsey, 27 years of age. 4 times on the Paralympic podium, and a little stumble as she comes to the first split time, but gets her composure back pretty quickly.
Cutting a little too direct of a line on those first turns. Had to open the body position up and disturb her balance a little. She's got the flow and got good glide going on here. Oh, just as I say that, she has to put them sideways to make a little adjustment.
Ramsey into the finishing pitch, 56.14. She's outside it, and outside it by 4.64 seconds. Ali Johnson of the United States of America, 27 years of age, in her first Paralympic Winter Games, and on track through those steep opening turns with a philosophy of feel the fear and do it anyway. Johnson is doing it here in Beijing.
Yeah, it's important, very important, a young athlete's career to get early experience at these big events. There's the Paralympic Winter Games. They're really different to any other experiences these athletes encounter in their careers. So Johnson doing well. A good showing for Team USA. She's looking a bit tired, not able to get the ski unloaded and then quickly move the body over to get on top of the next ski. Does a good job there into the red gate. That was an important one. She can let it run straight here to the line though.
56.14 Johnson, 8th position for the time being. Bib number 24 is Ray Anderson of Australia in her first Paralympic Winter Games. She threw the javelin for Australia in the Paralympic Summer Games in Rio. Started skiing after the World Championships, the Para-Athletic World Championships in 2017. So a very different beast.
Yeah, for sure. Track and field to the icy, difficult piece. It's not so icy today here, as I have to say. The ice river isn't quite as fierce as it's been in the previous few days, but the big challenge now is the roughness of the course. You can hear the skis chattering as they slide and get bounced around across this final pitch.
Anderson into 8th place for the time being. 10.36 off the pace. A good debut run at the Paralympic Winter Games. Guo Xiaxin from the People's Republic of China, the 23-year-old, the first of the home athletes to challenge in this women's giant slalom standing race. And 4.86 off the pace at the first split.
Keeps it steady through this middle part. Weight just a little bit back, so she's not developing enough direction in the turn to be able to carry the momentum around, and having to drift the skis a bit as a consequence to get her direction. Effective, but it's not the quickest way around the gates.
Whoa, 9th place, 10.38 off the pace. Eberasho, our current leader. Zhang Rengyu from the People's Republic of China, next on track, 20 years of age and a real medal hopeful for the home nation. And through those opening 6 turns, little bit of skid on the turn, but now she's into the rhythm of the course.
Yeah, those are definitely the money turns, the opening 6 to 8 turns. The gates are very close together, but still a lot of swing and
trouble.
Very good pace coming off the pitch. And a green light there, but I fear that advantage will have gone. That was a big mistake just as she passed the split time point.
Just getting too hot on the gate and having to cover a lot of ground. Now, 40.77 is the next split time. Has that mistake cost her on the clock? And the answer is it has. But that is gettable for Zhang in these closing turns, but she's going to have to ski this steep pitch really well.
It's all about the exit from this turn and the entry point to where she manages to start running the skis straight. Here she goes.
And she's inside by 700ths of a second. Well, she gets away with a very big mistake to lead this women's giant slalom standing race. Petra Smazova of Slovakia, bib number 31. And Smazova, 31 years of age, is in her 5th Paralympic Winter Games.
Good middle section here. Again, an athlete with no help from the factor, so she has to keep the turns clean, and we saw the skis bouncing just 20-30 centimeters wide of the ideal line in the double.
102.81 goes into 9th place. Smazova. Shani Vespi of Israel, the next to go. The first para-alpine skier from Israel to compete at the World Championships. And as you might see, she is skiing in a skirt, and that is to adhere to the religious dress code of Hasidic Judaism. And at the first split, 9.46 off the pace, and just comes back to make that red gate.
I have to say this hill it's brutal for the LW2s, the guys and girls who ski just on one leg. So many of the turns, so many of the key turns are long sweeping turns where you must carry the momentum, carry the speed from one section to another, and doing that on one leg, it really is a major challenge. Now, particularly the double gate that she's going to come to in another couple of turns. It's on her less strong side. She's got to stand there on her little toe, if you like. Gets dropped down, but doing a pretty good job nonetheless there. Gets high up for the red, so should be able to bring it home safe down this difficult final pitch.
Good work from Vespi, who will be back for the second run. 1:18.87 for the skier from Israel. Hondo Ami from Japan, the 25-year-old, bib number 29. Has represented Japan in rugby sevens as well, and is 5.43 off the pace as she comes into this final pitch and stops the clock. 1:03.58 into 10th place for Hondo Ami.
I think she'll take that. With a bit of luck, she could try to strike for the podium come the second run from 10th.
Kamiyama Noriko of Japan, 49 years of age, and she's making her Paralympic Winter Games debut and finds herself 5.84 off the pace at the first split.
Just has to settle things down here, try to find a little more direction. It may sound counterproductive to be saying that she should go a bit rounder, but going around her line would allow her to carry more ground speed and therefore get to the bottom in a quicker time. She's going a little too direct and having to drift the skis sideways as she comes to the gate. There's a good example there. Don't want to be too critical. 10.46 at the second split for her category, her classification. That's not too bad right now.
Kamiyama into the final few turns of run one. Zhang's time has come and gone, but Kamiyama on her debut at the Paralympic Winter Games. Achieves the first goal, which is making run 2. Good work from the Japan athlete. Lucia Smetisko from Croatia, 17 years of age, making her Paralympic Winter Games debut. Also a chess player who has played chess at European level.
Different tactical approach required in this particular activity, and I have to say, tactically, this young lady, Smetisko, she's doing a good job through these turns here, keeping the pace, keeping the momentum going down the final pitch.
And she will stop the clock at 1:07.34, slides into 13th place for the time being. Eva Maria Jochel of Austria on track, the 26-year-old in her first Paralympic Winter Games. Has also competed in parasailing, and she is down. Disappointment for Jochel, and she continues to slide all the way down, and that just shows you how steep this section of the track is.
Yeah, and this is really the part we're calling the middle flats. None of it's flat, obviously. It's quite a challenging hill. It never really stays consistent. It's either falling a little to the left or a little to the right, or the actual gradient, the pitch of the snow is the slope is changing as the skiers go. So that makes it extra challenging to be able to maintain balance over the ski. Never mind actually put power down onto the ski to find more speed around each and every one of these turns. So a very difficult, in one simple words, a difficult hill this.
Current standings in the women's giant slalom standing race. Zhang from the People's Republic of China leads just from Arsho of Sweden, with Jepsen of Canada in third, and then nearly 1.5 seconds between Jepsen and Rothfuss in fourth. Some last-minute instruction from the coach to Wang Ki-yun. Bib number 33, Wang Qingyun of the People's Republic of China, with bib number 23. And away she goes on these opening turns as the cloud starts to come in once again. And it makes life difficult for the racers, not only because of the light, but also they can't see the bumps or the ruts that are appearing in the snow. Yeah,
the definition goes when the light turns a little grey, as it has done. Not so bad lower down, and as we watch Wang come out onto this middle section of the course, the snow seems to be holding up well. And Chinese skier making the most of it here. She was a little cautious with that poor visibility up on the top section, I think, and that's where we've seen the majority of the deficit has been added to her time.
Here comes this second split now, and 13.31 behind her compatriot Zhang at split 2. Needs to set herself up onto this finishing pitch. Spends quite a lot of time on that left ski. And 56.07 has come and gone, but Wang will be back for run 2, and she stops the clock 1:14.43. Laura Valianu of Romania, bib number 34. Valianu was the first athlete in any sport to represent Romania at the Winter Paralympic Games when she participated in Vancouver in 2010. Raced again in Sochi in 2014, but didn't go to Pyeongchang. That's the best result of 5th in slalom.
Yeah, back from an extended study break, Laura Valianu, and that experience, you know, we've talked earlier today about some of the youngsters. Certainly Valianu not showing any nerves. Maybe a little race rusty, I would say, though. Big line error on the double gate. She went a lot wider than she really needed to just at the top of the pitch.
Down at 1:15.25. Slides into 17th place. '16-year-old Vanessa Gaskova of Slovakia with bib number 35. First major tournament for the skier who started the sport 8 years ago when she was aged 8.
Good work coming off the pitch. Now she finds a nice straight line through the early part of the flatter section. She won't be challenging her leader. Let's get a check on her time here, though.
28.52 at the first split for Gaskova.
Just needs to keep working here, try to get as much pressure up towards the front of the ski early on in the turn, make it arc into the gate.
.51.51 at the second time split. Now, can she get this left-footed turn right? Not bad at all from Gaskova into these final turns on the finishing pitch. Zhang's time 56.07. That's come and gone, but Gaskova 14th place for the time being in run 1 of the women's giant slalom. Bib number 36 from Bosnia-Herzegovina is Ilma Kacic, the 23-year-old in her 3rd Paralympic Winter Games. Was 15th in the giant slalom 4 years ago, but broke her shoulder back in November of last year in a training accident. So a quick recovery for Kacic, who's the only female athlete from Bosnia-Herzegovina here in Beijing.
Keeps the rhythm going through this middle part. She's come on leaps and bounds over the last couple of years. And yeah, this is for Lima. This is a strong giant slalom performance. She's not the strongest leg-wise due to her condition, but that's a really solid GS run for relative youngster at this games.
Kacic.
You should be pleased with that one. Yeah, a little smile.
Claudia Hernandez from Chile, bib number 37, the 29-year-old. Took up the sport in 2019, the only female Paralympian from Chile here at Beijing 2022. And Hernandez at the first split, 11 seconds off the pace in the LW2 class. Getting encouragement from the sidelines as she makes her way down through these alternating red and blue gates.
Yeah, the last of her skiers, now they're LW2. Just has to be certain that she doesn't lose the line. Gets a little low on that blue gate, makes a bit of an adjustment on the red. It's a drift that brings her back to a decent line. It's going to cost her a bit of time, but the main thing is she's staying upright and staying on the course onto this red. This is an important one, this following blue. If she's nailed that, so she should get home safe from here.
56.
Stay concentrated to the line.
56.07 the time of Zhang. And Hernandez down 21st place after the first run. She'll be back for run 2. So confirmation of the standings after the first run of the women's giant slalom race. Zhang Mengyu of the People's Republic of China leads the way from Ebba Arsho of Sweden. And Molly Jepsen of Canada is in third, as 21 of the 22 racers get to the bottom of run 1. Just Jochel of Austria, the non-finisher. Women's giant slalom sitting race, first run start list, and 13 competitors at the top of the hill. And Muroka Momoka, the defending Paralympic giant slalom champion, gets us underway. While none of the other medalists from 4 years ago are here. The World Championship silver medalist Katie Kumbaluzier goes at number 44, while the world bronze medalist Shona Brownlee is bib number 45. People's Republic of China have Liu Sitong going at 39 and Zhang Wenjing at 43, with Han Xiaxia at 48.
Quick tidy up on the course here before our sit skiers get underway. It's going to be important to get that soft snow at the edge of the ideal line well clear, because sit skiers have very limited capacity to get back on the line if they do get bounced wide, and this is going to be a challenging course. It's going to run very fast for our sit skiers, so they really have to be right on their A game to be able to hang in here in this course. This is going to be an exciting one.
Muroka Momoka of Japan with bib number 38 will get us underway. The defending Paralympic giant slalom champion from Pyeongchang in 2018. And a chance to look at these opening 6 very steep turns that will set the rhythm for the rest of the track. And Muroka has negotiated them pretty well.
Yeah, she's doing her best to send the ski down the fall line, or as close to the fall line as she dares. It's very hard to get enough direction to get across the hill far enough and carry speed. Muroka there on the red just got dropped a little low. These are better turns though as she comes onto the flatter part.
Good opening turns from Muroka, who looks to try and put down a marker for the remaining athletes at the top. And the captain of the Japan team here in Beijing has been on excellent form so far.
Smooth and strong execution past the second split into the double here. Sets herself up well. She's got to chop onto this next red. Well, that's pretty well perfect, I would say, coming onto the pitch. Look at the pace she carries as she heads for the line.
Muroka will stop the clock, 101.76. And now it's a waiting game to see how that stacks up. Bib number 39, Liu Sitong from the People's Republic of China. She was the only para-alpine skier for China in Pyeongchang. She's got a number of teammates this time around.
Looks comfortable on these middle turns. Really confident swinging the rig from one side to the other.
And she has the green light by just over 1.5 seconds. So strong opening turns from Liu Sitong through the double gate onto the finishing pitch. 101.76, Muroka's time, and Liu inside by just over a second. Barbara van Bergen of the Netherlands with bib number 40 on track. The 43-year-old who was a wheelchair basketball athlete at the Paralympic Summer Games in 2008 in Beijing. Well, she's back here 14 years later as a sit skier and just showing some respect to those opening steep turns.
Yeah, a little too much respect on gates 3, 4, and 5. She got pushed a little bit too wide as a result. She's got better pace and better rhythm in these turns, though, and not too much damage done.
Yeah, 6,400, it's the wrong side of the clock. If she can now pick the pace up, that is easily gettable for Van Bergen.
Smooth turns through the middle parts. It's just exactly what she needs to do here.
Second time split, 44.77, and Van Bergen still within a second of our leader, Liu Sitong.
Now, there's maybe a tenth or two to be had if she can get high out of this double and now chop down aggressively onto the red. Maybe just missed it a little, but this is a decent finish section. Last few gates look strong.
1 minute 72 and is outside by 1.43, goes into third place. Annalena Forster from Germany in the startup, bib number 41, the 26-year-old, a three-time Paralympic champion.
Oh, Forster taking some risks on the top section. She knows she's got to find maximum pace for the middle part. Just microsecond there, touches down, didn't really lose the line, but I think she probably lost a little bit of the drive into the following right foot turn, and I think that's what's reflected there on the split.
That was a fantastic recovery from Forster, who had the rig on the snow. Can she get to work on these middle turns to eat into that deficit of 1.75 seconds that she has on Liu Sitong, our leader? 44.7, and it has grown now to 2.69.
It's still respectable despite that mistake. I would say she's in touch here and she's skiing confidently. Let's see if she can chop this red off. Goes for it, gets pretty good grip in the top of the turn and running quickly now towards the line. How
close can she get to Liu? And the answer is 3.45 off the pace, and she slides into fourth place. And a shake of the head from Forster. Tanaka Yoshiko from Japan with bib number 42, 46 years of age in her fourth Paralympic Winter Games. Debuted in 2006, but missed out in Pyeongchang. And she is out, and that is a big fall on the steep section. And well, let's hope she is okay as she clatters into the B netting, and the course workers try to get to it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, she went into the nets very heavy there. She didn't look very confident coming out of the start gate, and here on the second turn, she just didn't find the entry point of the turn, didn't load the ski up effectively, and a very clear indication, a quick reminder for us all of just how steep and how difficult this opening, the opening 100 meters or so of this giant slalom course is. You really have to attack right from the get-go. There's you have to put your fears to the side and go as hard as you can into those gates and just hang on till you get back down onto the flat, then catch your breath from there. Let's hope she's okay. I'm sure we'll get a little check on our screens, but right now the race is on hold until we get her at the nets. Her teammates watching on anxiously from the finish area. Difficult hill this, as I've said already, for giant slalom skiing, particularly with the slightly reduced visibility. It's very choppy underfoot, and the snowpack not so icy as it's been, but as we're seeing as the race goes on. The ruts and bumps are beginning to come into the course and creating ever greater challenges for our athletes as the morning wears on.
Harada Narika from Japan waiting on, and the medical staff are with Tanaka Yoshiko.
Well, she's upright on the rig, so that's the first important thing. If there was any real concerns, they'd be asking her to stay still until they could do a bit more of an assessment. So let's hope that that's a good sign, and that she can make her way down to the bottom under her own steam, as it were.
Yeah, concern in all parts of the course for Tanaka Yoshiko, who is out of the nets and coming down under her own steam. So that is just what we wanted to see. And the athlete from Japan is seemingly okay. So relief to see Tanaka on her rig by herself, and the race will get back underway shortly. And indeed there is the wand, and it's Zhang Wenjing in the hut now. Zhang Wenjing from the People's Republic of China, bib number 43. The 19-year-old in her first Paralympic Winter Games, and she is all-out attack on these opening turns. This is quick.
I have to say, the Chinese skiers, you know, definitely using a local snow advantage, you could call it, to they're putting that to good use. Confidence is everything on a day like this, and particularly in this discipline, and a course like we have here, which is very steep right from the get-go.
0.38 off the pace of Liu Sitong, who is the leader and her teammate. And Zhang doing some excellent turns in the middle of this track. Can she eat into the deficit of 0.38?
Well, certainly looks to be keeping herself very much in touch. One or two turns where she went just a little straighter than perhaps she ought to have, but very quick adjustments with the rig to get back on an ideal line. Sometimes gone, but and that was a serious mistake. A great recovery, though, I have to say.
She didn't come to a complete stop, so allowed to continue, but that would have really hurt her chances, and it's sort of thrown her concentration a little bit as she goes really wide on the double gate entry into the finishing pitch and gets the line wrong into that red gate. Stops the clock at 1:05.21. Well, she'll be back for run two, but it was a very close run thing.
Yeah, a case of what could have been, really, wasn't it? It was a strong, strong top section.
Bib 44, Katie Combeluzier of Canada, the 28-year-old. In her first Paralympic Winter Games, a silver medalist at the World Championships in this discipline of giant slalom in Lillehammer of January this year. And just taking a rather rounded line on these opening gates.
Yeah, I'm giving the course a lot of respect up there on the top section. She knows that she can only afford a certain amount of risk-taking on those difficult opening gates. She can afford to let it roll and let the ski run a little more here, though, through the middle part.
5 seconds off the pace at the first split time. Combeluzier now has to get to work in this middle section.
Yeah, can't really, if she wants to stay competitive, she can't really afford to let too much more time slip by. This is good, though. It's got a nice, smooth and clean execution, rolling from from edge to edge on that single ski. And yet not too much more time added to the gap.
Much smoother. A couple of turns at the top was almost like 2 or 3 turns in one sort of longer turn. And that's bleeds time away, but these are better turns, and Combeluzier now a couple of gates from home will stop the clock at 1:11.57. 6th place for the Canadian. Shona Brownlee of Great Britain, the next to go, bib number 45. First Paralympic Winter Games for Brownlee, who was third in giant slalom at the World Championships in Lillehammer back in January of this year.
Real confident stuff. Oh, just as I say that, Brownlee gets bounced sideways. I was going to say really confident opening turns by Shona Brownlee, but a mistake 2 blue gates earlier has taken a bit of the momentum out of her turn. She's put it behind her though and looking focused now as she comes to the top of the flatter part of the course.
And the mistake just costing her a bit of time, 4.67 off the pace of Liu Sitong, our current leader in the women's giant slalom sitting race.
Just as to stay consistent and solid down through these middle turns. Limit the damage, no more big mistakes, keep it clean. That would be the order of the day from here to the finish, I suggest.
Brownlee, good work as she comes towards the finish. The name of the game is to be in the race in the second run.
Yeah, solid closing few turns here by Shona Brownlee.
And Brownlee will stop the clock at 1:14.2, goes into 7th place. Zhang Haiyun from the People's Republic of China, bib number 46, 44 years of age.
Ooh.
And
Nice
right on the edge. I was going to say, she won gold in the long jump in the T42 class in Athens in 2004.
Wow. Yeah, as we've said, the Chinese Paralympic Association doing a massive talent screening exercise, and certainly this lady has got she's got good physical skills, obviously, from her Summer Games heritage, but great skiing here through the middle part as well. She a couple of really scary moments there. The ski drifting sideways, very flat edge angle, not allowing her to get proper grip up on the steeper section. Looks a lot more comfortable here on the less daunting middle part. It's going to get steep again just in another 50 meters or so, though, so she really needs to go to work on these remaining turns.
Has to get it sideways before setting up for this double gate, and is pushed wide. Zhang Haiyun trying to chase down her teammate Liu Sitong, and it was an eventful run, and she's down 1:06.62. 6th place for Zhang Haiyun. Harada Norika of Japan, the next to go, 39 years of age. First Paralympic Winter Games for her after taking up the sport 9 years ago. And making sure on these very steep top turns. And she's down. As I say that, just loses the edge. And she will slide a long way down this pitch.
Yeah, I think possibly her confidence dented a little by the early exit of her teammate Tanaka, who went down on more or less the same gate. Let's hope she can come to a halt safely here. Try and slow herself down with the riggers, but looks to be okay from here. And oops, she's onto a slightly steeper part again. Yeah,
she needs to try and come to a stop if she can, but now she's on the racing line and she's just going to accelerate down through here. Really steep. She's got an awfully long way down this track, and that is going to hurt as well, and she finally comes to a stop. She's okay. She's getting herself up under her own steam. That's good to see, but oh, she travelled a mighty long way. So another hole for the athletes at the top of the hill.
The three remaining athletes really having their confidence and concentration challenged by the crashes. Looks like we're almost underway again, though.
In the start hut, number 48, Han Xia on her birthday. The 32-year-old started in the sport in 2017, her first Paralympic Winter Games. What a way to crown your birthday, to make your Paralympic Winter Games debut.
Yeah, it's a great part of the story. She looked a little tentative, a little uncertain. As we said, you know, all these crashes, it shakes everybody's confidence, no matter how much race experience you have. But she's settled nicely and carving pretty cleanly through the middle part.
First split time for Liu Sitong was 25.02, and she was 3.39 off the pace there. Now just getting into some rhythm of this track in the middle part. Next split 44.77, and Han will stop the clock at 51.29.
Keeps the work rate up. Here comes this all-important double. Swings out as high as she can to her left and then chops in best she can on that red gate. Onto the final pitch. One more proper turn to go and then it's straight to the line.
109.88, 7th place for Han Xia of the People's Republic of China. Sarah Hunde of Liechtenstein, the 30-year-old who is the only athlete from Liechtenstein here at Beijing 2022. And she is getting pushed very wide and late in the line, and she is going to struggle to make that red gate, but she has just made it.
Yeah, that's the dilemma. If you take too cautious, too conservative a line, then the hill really works against you. But Hundert has negotiated the trickiest turns safely. So good on her. Now she can afford to try to find some confidence now that she's got those ones out of the way, and try to bring the line the line she's following a little closer to the inside flag of the turning gate. But for somebody in their first games on such a challenging course, you know, you can't really fault the various tactical approaches, if you like. A cautious approach should, in theory, get her safely to the line. So let's watch this one closely. She comes through the middle part of the course in front of our cameras, riding this one solidly and safely.
An international mountain biker before her accident. It's a different mode of transport, and she's doing well as she finds her way through this middle part of the track.
Now she just needs to take confidence from these steady turns as she comes towards the steeper part, but just before she crosses the second split time checkpoint, she goes down on her side. No, she's not going to get back from this one.
Hunde DNF. Now she needs to they need to try and stop her, otherwise she's going to go all the way down into the finish area. And she will end up right at the bottom in the finishing area if she doesn't hit those pads on the way past. She just clips the pads, but it's not enough to stop her. And she will go all the way to the bottom. Unfortunately, just misses the padding. That was a little fortunate to slot through that gap. But let's hope she's okay.
She looks to be okay. That certainly wasn't in the game plan, and things were going pretty steadily until then. But once again, when the sit skiers go down on their side, there's really not much control to be had at all. So Again, fingers crossed she's okay in the finish area. Looks like it was a long slide, but no tumbles or any part of the fall that looked like it might cause major problems. But ultimately, she's out of the competition, so she won't be coming back later today for the second run.
Now the team at the bottom just coming across to see Sarah Hundert and help her back up onto her monoski. Just one athlete remaining at the top, Marilla of Finland. She's had a bit of waiting to do today, but that's what we want to see, and that is Hundert making her way out of the finish area by herself.
That's exactly what we wanted to see.
Good spirits. That was a wild ride, said the medic, to which she replies, yes. I'm not sure if you caught that on the mic, but obviously okay to respond to that. Marilla of Finland with bib number 50, the last to go in this women's giant slalom sitting race, 42 years of age in her first Paralympic Winter Games.
Good job on the top section. That delay due to the fall of the earlier skier not affecting her confidence or her concentration too badly. A little skip and a jump in that red gate, so she held on to that really well. I thought she was going to go down as well, but now out onto slightly more open and inviting series of turns through the middle part of this course.
The first time split. There's a little bit of work to do, 7 seconds off the pace. Now these are good turns from the skier from Finland.
A little adjustment needed there, but keeps it going, gets the turn shape set up again. It's so important with just a single ski. It's so important to keep the swing, the sweeping swing from side to side going so that the ski can actually load properly and get some carving action going. Even though it's a slightly cautious approach, the rhythm is good here, so technical execution is fine. Into the double here, a long way to cut across to the following red, and then it's onto this, back onto the fall line, onto that direct line down the hill on this very steep closing section. She looks to have this well under control.
Last gates but one, and she is back for the second run. 10th place for Marilla of Finland, 1:23.25. She'll be back for run two. She'll get it underway, in fact, as the starting order is reversed. So the standings after the first run of the women's giant slalom sitting race. Liu Sitong from the People's Republic of China leads the way from Murooka Momoka of Japan and Barbara van Bergen of the Netherlands in third. 10 of the 13 racers at the top of the hill in run one are back for run two. So a fascinating first run in the women's giant slalom races at the Yansing National Alpine Skiing Centre. And run two later on day 7, when the athletes will go in the reverse order of their finishing order in run one. So the slowest racer will go first, with the quickest racer the last out the gate in the respective races. And that will really ramp up the excitement as we decide where the gold medals go here on day 7.